Have you ever wondered what it takes to conquer insurmountable odds? Imagine being faced with a challenge so great it seems impossible, yet you are chosen to navigate through this perilous journey. This was the situation Gideon found himself in, a man of simple means chosen by God to lead the Israelites into a battle against the oppressive Midianites. Gideon was not a warrior nor a leader by nature. He was a humble wheat thresher whose faith was tested and questioned even by himself. Yet it was his faith that became his beacon, guiding him through the darkness of doubt. Like the shepherds of old who trusted their flocks to the guiding light of the stars, Gideon trusted in the divine light of his faith. And so, with the weight of his people's hope on his shoulders and an enemy force vastly outmatching his own, Gideon was left with only his faith and a mere 300 soldiers. Scene script. Gideon's faith was put to the ultimate test when God instructed him to reduce his army from 32,000 to 300. Imagine this. You're leading an army of 32,000 men, preparing for a battle against a formidable foe. Suddenly, a divine command instructs you to reduce your forces not by a small margin, not even by half, but by a staggering 97%. That's what happened to Gideon. First, God told Gideon to let anyone who was fearful or afraid leave. 22,000 men departed, leaving 10,000 behind. It was a drastic reduction, surely enough to shake the confidence of any leader, but God had other plans. The army was still too large. Then came the second instruction. Gideon was to take his men to the water, and there God set another test. Only those who lapped the water with their hands like a dog were to stay. The rest were sent home. When the test was over, Gideon was left with only 300 men. Take a moment to appreciate the gravity of the situation. Gideon, with only 300 men, was about to face an army described as numerous as locusts. His faith, his trust in God's plan, was pushed to its limit. It's easy to imagine the fear that must have gnawed at his heart, the doubt that could have crept into his mind. Yet Gideon obeyed. Despite the odds, despite the fear, he chose to trust God, to believe in a power greater than his own. His decision wasn't based on military strategy or confidence in his men's fighting skills. It was based on faith, a deep, unshakable faith that God would deliver them. This is the essence of Gideon's test of faith. It wasn't about the number of soldiers he had, the strength of his forces, or the strategy he employed. It was about trust, obedience, and belief in the divine plan. With only his faith and 300 soldiers, Gideon was ready to face an army of thousands. Despite the odds, Gideon and his 300 soldiers emerged victorious. A tale as old as time, yet it never loses its resonance. A tale of faith, obedience, and victory against all odds. This ragtag group of 300, led by Gideon, faced a vast and formidable enemy force. But they were not discouraged, for they had something much mightier than weapons or numbers. They had faith in a power far greater than any earthly force, faith that had been tested and proven time and time again. As instructed by God, Gideon employed unconventional tactics. Instead of charging headlong into battle, they used their wits and their faith. They carried torches hidden in jars and trumpets, tools not of war but of startling surprise. At Gideon's signal, they broke the jars, revealing the torches, and blew their trumpets with all their might. The enemy, taken by surprise, was thrown into confusion and chaos. And so, it was not by might, not by power, but by faith and obedience that Gideon and his 300 soldiers won the day. They didn't need to shed a drop of their blood. The enemy forces, confused and afraid, turned on themselves, leaving Gideon and his men to claim a victory that seemed impossible. They had faced an army vastly superior in number and might, but they emerged victorious, not by their strength but by their faith. This victory was more than just a military triumph. It was a victory of faith over fear, of obedience over doubt. It was a testament to the power of trusting in God and following his guidance, even when the path seems uncertain or the odds insurmountable. In the face of adversity, Gideon and his 300 soldiers chose faith. They chose obedience, and in doing so, they emerged victorious, proving that with faith, all things are indeed possible. Gideon's story is a testament to the power of faith and obedience, even in the face of seemingly impossible odds.